I'm back at it again, man. Listen, we got a lot to cover. Jets losing to the Dolphins. We're going to be talking about Aaron Rodgers speaking to the media as well. Call in 515-602-9639 is number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. Orlando C, Dakota, I see you. Give me 1 second, folks. We're going to connect the audio and get to it. Hold on. All right, we're back, folks. Listen, there's some issues with Blog Talk. I apologize, but we're going to keep on rolling, and we're going to get into this live show because I want to continue to have this discussion with y'all. Blog Talk is poop, okay? But it is what it is. Put your questions in the chat. We're going to have this discussion, and we're going to be talking about this football team and everything that's going on with it. All right, so I'll come to y'all in the chat. We'll go back and forth, and we'll still have a good time. I apologize to the callers that are calling in, but Blog Talk is it's its own thing. So please, I apologize to everybody. So to start off, okay, the New York Jets, as we know, got destroyed by the Miami Dolphins. All right, crushed by the Dolphins. All right, beat up pretty bad, 30-0. 30-0. We got beat really, really bad. Of course, we are eliminated from the playoffs, okay? That officially says and done. And what was surprising about this loss is the Dolphins beat us handily. No Tyreek Hill, right? Various injuries along the offensive line. And I thought watching that, I thought after hearing that, that we would see some things happen, right? We would see this Jets team be able to put some things together, especially with everything that we had on the line, and we still couldn't get it done, all right? The Jets offense was dead off the jump. It was completely dead, okay? The O-line was horrific. They couldn't block anybody, and I'm talking about all of them. It was bad. It was a bad performance by the New York Jets offensive line. Horrific, okay? Becton was terrible. He had a rough day, all right? He's usually better than that, but he had a bad day. I'm keeping it a buck, all right? He let up some sacks. It was just pressure consistently, right? And we saw Zach Wilson get destroyed because of this, okay? Zach Wilson ended up dropping back, getting smacked by a Dolphins defender, and he got put on his backside, man. Ended up getting jacked up, was dealing with some things throughout, even though he played for a little bit longer than eventually, I believe it was before the half, he ended up having to leave the game because of, initially they said dehydration, and then it came back out that he was concussed. He had a concussion. But again, on that drop back that he actually got sacked on, he fumbled. That set the Dolphins up for a drive and a score there. And it was just bad, man. Everything else from then on just rolled really bad way for the New York Jets. We had a 4th down fake punt that ended up getting stuffed. That was that was rough as well, okay? That was really, really rough too. I mean, it was tough, man. It was tough being a New York Jets fan. At the half, okay? At the half against the Dolphins had 194 yards of total offense, and the Jets only had 4. Offense, it just stunk, man. We couldn't get anything together, couldn't get anything rolling. The Jets gave up 6 sacks in total. Ton of pressures, tons of all that stuff. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. I see you, okay? How about them Jets? Tony, Dakota, Hemi, salutes, All right. Again, put your questions in the chat. I'll be coming to y'all. I apologize to y'all. The phone lines are down. But we're going to keep on rolling, keep on going through this because I really want to talk to y'all about this situation, and I'll go back and forth with y'all in the chat. So as we continue to move around and move along, right, we saw Trevor Siemian came in, and he ended up throwing 2 interceptions. It was just a really bad day for the New York Jets offense. But we also saw the defense get worked a little bit too, and the defense tried its best, right, tried to hold up, and they did some things, but eventually, man, the dam just broke. Again, I talked about earlier, Tyreek Hill was not playing in this game. He wasn't playing. Well, Jalen Waddle went off. I mean, he went crazy. 8 catches, 142 yards, also had a touchdown in this game. And the whole time I was thinking, I'm watching this guy, I watched DJ Reed get beat for a 60-yard bomb. And I'm saying to myself, man, where's the defensive adjustments here, right? We know that DJ Reed's a great corner. But we all, pretty much unanimously feel like Sauce is our best corner. With no Tyreek Hill out there, which is the Dolphins', greatest weapon to this point, if you see that Jalen Waddle is going off the way he's going off, how do you not put Sauce on Jalen Waddle? How do you not sit down and look at yourself and go, okay, look, generally our defensive scheme is we don't move corners around, right? But Sauce is our best corner. Let's move him and put him on Waddle. Wherever Waddle goes, you shut him down on the day. That's what we've seen. We've seen that around the league from other great corners. Heck, when Darrelle Revis was here, that's what we saw, right? Revis would follow the best wide receiver and shut him down. Sometimes he would just follow the guy that was going off. We seen that before as well, where Revis had been told by Rex, hey, I need you to go over there. Cromartie would be maybe struggling with a guy. And Revis will go over to Cromartie and say, hey, look, I got to take this guy, Rex want me. And Cromartie would be like, yeah, go ahead. All right, I'll go get this other guy, And to me, it looked like the situation was, hey, look, this is not DJ Reed's day. Let's move Sauce over there. And that was an opportunity for them to do it, and they didn't. And Waddle just continued to go off, man. Continued to go off. You look at this game, and I feel as if the Jets, not only do I feel as if, you watch the game, the Jets coaching staff, we got thoroughly out-coached, man. Thoroughly out-coached in this game, okay? Not only did I feel like that, you sit back and you listen to the New York Jets players say it. And this is something that I think is extremely interesting as we continue to go forward. Again, the New York Jets have been eliminated from the playoffs. But you're starting not only to see the frustration, you're starting to hear the frustration from players. You're starting to hear them say things publicly that they weren't saying before. Maybe they were saying this in the locker room, right behind closed doors. Maybe they were saying this to each other in private conversations over the phone or, away from the media and the fan base. But now we're hearing them say these things out in public to the media, right? Which is shocking. Alan Lazard, after the game, because again, the Jets were beat 30-0, Alan Lazard said publicly to the media that the New York Jets were out-schemed and out-efforted. That's what he said publicly to the media. He said that. And I was kind of stunned, because again, Alan Lazard, as we all know, has been struggling, right? He hasn't been playing well at all. I call him Alan Butterfingers Lazard. That's what I call him. Right? Because he has so many drops. But to hear him come out and publicly say this was like, wow. Especially, again, we know that Robert Saleh, at least visibly, has also been frustrated with Lazard, making comments about, him basically having a year and a half left here. Okay? He's made it very clear with some of the things that he said, kind of how he feels about Lazard. But to hear Alan Lazard say that publicly stunned me a little bit. But what shocked me further was when I heard Garrett Wilson, right, also agree with Lazard's sentiments, because the media went to him directly after, pretty much after the interview with Lazard, and they said, hey, Garrett, Alan Lazard just said that, the day you folk were out-schemed and out-efforted. What are your thoughts on that? Do you believe you were out-schemed and out-efforted? And Garrett Wilson, who is the young star, one of the foundational guys, one of the guys that is a one of the guys that a lot of the guys around the team rally around, right? He's a young guy, a young leader in that locker room, a guy that a lot of guys look to. And he said that he agreed with that. He said he agreed with it. And so I'm sitting here like, wow, right in the public. And of course, after this game, we hear, the rumbling start from Jets fans about, Aaron Rodgers, or not just Aaron Rodgers, but Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas need to be on the chopping block, and all these things that were swirling and stuff like that. And let me say this about that. All right. I personally do not believe that Robert Saleh or Joe Douglas or Nathaniel Hackett, for that matter, right? I'm keeping it all the way real. I don't believe that any of them will be fired at the end of the season. I don't. And I don't because I believe what is going to happen, okay? I believe that the New York Jets, the front office, the staff, and the owner, okay? I believe that the Jets owner has made it clear that this is a free and clear season for this staff. That whatever happens here happens, okay? I believe that they're going to try to re-up this upcoming offseason. We're going to see them attempt to address every single deficiency on this football team, mainly the offensive line, okay? Whether via the draft, free agency, all these things, right? Because we have multiple and various ways to better this football team. I believe that they are going to do all that in hopes that when Aaron Rodgers comes back next season, that they'll be able to work up and at the very least, make the playoffs or have a run and win a Super Bowl. That's what I believe is going to happen. So I understand, and I've gone back and forth with a lot of Jets fans, okay? Through and through. Everybody knows I'm a Jets fan as well. I'm just a guy that loves this team just like you that's listening. And again, I want to thank everybody for listening. All right, again, put your questions in the chat. Talk to me in the chat. I'm going back and forth. Please give the stream a thumbs up. Share it with your social media, your friends and family. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you'll be in the know. All right? I apologize for those of you that have called in. The lines are down. I'm sorry. I believe that the New York Jets are going to try to make a run next year again with Aaron Rodgers. And I'm talking if, that fails, I believe that that's the only time you may see someone get fired. That's it. And I know that there's a lot of Jets fans that are upset about that. I know that there are a lot of Jets fans that don't want to hear that. But let me tell you something. We are in win now mode. Anybody forget that? That's what happened when we acquired Aaron Rodgers. That's what happened. We talked about this. This is what we wanted, remember? Right? We talked about this. When you acquired Aaron Rodgers, you hit the win now button. Okay? That's what you did. And guess what? When you hit the win now button, you can't make a bunch of all these vast changes like firing coaching staffs. You can't make all those changes and expect to still be in win now mode. We've given up too much capital to walk away from this path. We gave up it was a first rounder and now a second rounder this upcoming season because, again, he's officially, not coming back, and we're going to be talking about that in a second. You're in win now mode. You don't have you can't just pull the plug on everything and throw everything away. You can't do that. And for those people that think that firing a coaching staff, well, you can just do that and then you'll compete next year. No, that's not how things work. That's not realistic. That's not realistic at all. Because essentially what you would be saying is, because again, I talked to many Jets fans that think that Aaron Rodgers on this football team puts the New York Jets in a position to win a Super Bowl. Not if you completely change the offensive scheme. You're bringing in another guy that's going to have another scheme. Right? The same way that we brought Nathaniel Hackett in this year, and he had a different scheme than Mike LaFleur did last season. Right? And guys were having to deal with getting their footing within the new scheme here with Nathaniel Hackett. Well, you fire Nathaniel Hackett, guess what? Whoever else you bring in, God knows who else you can go grab that's going to have a similar scheme to what we run currently, he's going to have certain ways that he do it. Verbiage, all these checks, check in and check out and all that other stuff. It's not happening. Never mind the fact that the linchpin for this football team, right? The thing that's held us all together, The defense, oh, brother. Let me tell y'all something about this defense, okay? Phenomenal, right? Phenomenal defense. That's the thing that has given us everything that we love, right? It's kept us in games. It's put things together. And again, I'll come to the Savages in a second. Salute to all the Savages in the chat. I respect y'all. Todd, Adrian Gutierrez, I see you in the building. Balloon, I see you. I'll be coming to y'all in a second because I want to talk to y'all again. I apologize if y'all are coming in a little late. The phone lines are down. It is out of my control. This Blog Talk, okay? Okay. We going to go back and forth, and I'm going to talk to the chat. Listen, if you change this defensive scheme, right, you get rid of Robert Saleh, Ulbrich, you fire all those guys, you clear the staff out of here. If you think these guys are going to be able to come back in a brand new defensive scheme and off the bat, year one, just an offseason, and then boom, you think this is going to be the same defense? You're wrong. You're wrong. You are wrong. That's not happening. It's going to take time for guys to get their footing in a brand new defensive scheme. They're going to have to figure things out. That's what's going to have to happen. Okay? That's what's going to have to happen. And this defense that's been the linchpin will no longer be the linchpin. You can't be, because they're trying to get things together too. Never mind the fact, okay? Never mind the fact that if you bring in a new defensive coordinator, his system may not fit some of the guys that we currently have here. Anybody ever thought about that? Right? This is what I'm talking about. When you hit the win now button, when you hit that and you trade for Aaron Rodgers, all these rigmarole changes you want to make, they get rough. You're bringing a new guy. There are going to be guys on this defense that may not fit his defensive scheme. Some guys that are really good here, right? Because think about this. Does anybody remember when Robert Saleh got here? When he got here, the first year, our defense was horrific. It was bad. It was so bad, people were talking about firing him the first year because our defense wasn't performing, right? What were the issues then? There were guys that were currently there, right? Guys that were here. Anybody remember guys like Bryce Hall? Anybody remember him? He was supposed to be our starting corner, right? He was our number one. He was the guy that was going to be our number one corner going forward, and then he eventually got pushed to the bench because they brought in DJ Reed and drafted Sauce Gardner, guys that were better fit for the scheme. That's why we have one of the top cornerback tandems. There were other guys as well that were brought in, Carl Loss and all. They went and got a bunch of guys to bring them in to help Saleh's scheme get better, to help him be able to run his defensive scheme more efficiently. That's why we went from the worst defense in the league, okay, to the best defense in the league, to one of the best defenses in the league, the year after Saleh's first year. We had to go get pieces to fit what he did well, what his defensive scheme was actually asking us to do. Jordan Whitehead, again, we brought in DJ Reed. We went and got a host of guys. That's what we did. And people are forgetting this. And look, I want to ask the chat, do you believe that Robert Saleh should be fired? Do you believe Joe Douglas to be fired? I want to ask y'all that. Okay? Put your answers in the chat. Because I think that those kind of changes will take you out of win now mode. Never mind the fact. I'm just talking about schemes right now, right? And how they'll apply and different stuff. But what about Aaron Rodgers? Okay? What about Aaron Rodgers? And I want you guys to hear something before I talk about what firing coaches or talking about firing coaches, what it could do with if you think you're going to be able to keep Aaron Rodgers here. I want you guys to listen to Aaron Rodgers and what he had to say about Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh and his continued support for them. Go ahead and listen to this audio.
And also the guys that you have grown to love and have relationships with, Saleh, Douglas, Hackett. When those guys are getting dragged, does it make it even harder, just to be watching? And was that like an added motivation throughout the year that you wanted to get back? Was that something that also kind of attributed to the, hey, I want to get back to like prove these guys right in the mind of, the people who are covering the team, just because it has gotten so loud?
Yeah, of course. I think to not say yes would be to deny a natural human instinct to protect those that you love and you care about. And I believe in Joe Douglas. I think he's put together a lot of great drafts and a great roster. We obviously had a number of difficult injuries this season. I believe in Robert Saleh. I think he's a fantastic coach. I think he's about the right stuff. And what you emphasize, you're going to get. And I think he emphasizes the right things, being about the right stuff, how to be a professional. I believe in Nate Hackett. Always have. I think the offense that he runs is quarterback friendly, and obviously it was geared around me and my abilities and what I do well, and my ability to get to the line of scrimmage and get us in good play and to survive bad plays. I think that's just a bigger role for a quarterback to do as anything is how do we survive a play that maybe nobody's open or somebody gets beat right away or just doesn't look good pre-snap. And I think that's part of a quarterback's job. It's not just to make the splash plays, but to make the right play when things don't look great. It comes with playing in New York and being a Jet or a Giant. It's a great media, very passionate. Our fan base is incredibly passionate. 13 years without going to the playoffs is tough. And so naturally, this reaction from fans across the league, albeit sometimes misguided. I think people want snap decisions.
Now, if you listen to Aaron Rodgers during that clip, I know everybody heard that, he clearly is letting you know that he has, he fully supports Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, and even Nathaniel Hackett. You listen to the clip, he said it's a quarterback-friendly system that Nathaniel Hackett has. Okay? I'll go back to the single reason why he came here. This is what I'm talking about with multiple Jets fans that I've had discussions with all this week, even before this week. I've talked to Jets fans that wanted to fire everybody, right? And I'm here to listen. I'm no better than anyone else. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to listen and go back and forth with my Jets brothers and sisters. Here's the deal. Aaron Rodgers came to this facility. He came to this franchise because he saw what he thought was a team that had what it took to take the next step, because they had finally found out how to ground themselves, right? They finally had the right guys in place to give them a solid foundation to continue to build forward with good pieces and finally put a good product out there on the field. And when he looked at this New York Jets franchise, right, the reason why he picked us was because he could see himself winning here because of that foundation. He could see himself succeeding here. That's why he came here. He said it himself. If you go back and you go back and you listen to all of the stuff that he was talking about before he got here, right? Before it was official, even after it was official, he talked about how when we had played them, right? During the offseason, we did some practices together, some joint practices. And he said that he had looked at the Jets and was like, hey, yeah, this team has some things. This team has some stuff that they've put together. This is not a bad team. They've got some young players, young playmakers. Again, salutes to all the savages in the chat. Young players, young playmakers. But they've just got to figure some things out. Okay? And then we went into the season and we beat them really handily, right? And that's when he was like, man, this defense is serious. They crushed us. They spanked us. He talked about it. And he thought to himself, right? Man, now that I want to move on from Green Bay, this Jets team could be the team that I can go to that I can win a Super Bowl with. That defense is legit. They got weapons like Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. The only thing they need really is me. A competent quarterback to come in and give them solid to great production. And while I'm there, I can also teach young Zach Wilson, who looks up to me. I'm his hero. He wants to be me. He wants to be me. So all I have to do is go in there, right? And be Aaron Rodgers, and everything's going to pan out and work out. That's what got him here. But again, one of the staples in this look, okay? One of the staples is that Robert Saleh, Nathaniel Hackett, who literally built the offense with Aaron Rodgers that we're running currently, and Joe Douglas were in place. I believe that if you fire any of those guys without the sign off of Aaron Rodgers, without his okay, if you make any moves, that Achilles is going to have more problems than you know. And I believe that he doesn't come back. And no one will say or blame him for anything. Okay? Let me tell you something, Jets fans. And I love this football team, and I love this fan base. And again, I'll come to the Savages. Put your questions in the chat. We going back and forth. When I look at this situation with Aaron Rodgers, we have tied ourselves to him in a way that is real. It's real. And to this point, to be completely honest, we need him more than he needs us. If Aaron Rodgers walks away right now, today, if he walks away today, if he wakes up from a nap at whatever time it is right now on Tuesday, right, and says, you know what, I'm done. I'm just going to go off into the sunset. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's won Super Bowls, been an MVP. He's done it all. He did all of that stuff before he got here. And this right here will be a pit stop. Not even a pit stop. It'd be a blink on the outlook of his illustrious career. And nobody will say anything about it or think twice. Aaron Rodgers can leave today and be fine. And don't think that he doesn't have anything else outside of football either. I've had talks with Jets fans about that. Well, he ain't got nowhere else to go, Joe. He ain't got nothing else to do. Brother, do you know that Aaron Rodgers literally could have gone and did Jeopardy? Do y'all know that? He literally at one point was talked about as possibly becoming the host of Jeopardy. This guy is on the Pat McAfee show, and salutes to Pat McAfee. That's who he was speaking with the media today through Pat McAfee. He's on the Pat McAfee show every Tuesday. Sometimes outside of Tuesday. If you think that that will stop simply because he doesn't play football, that people still don't want to talk to him, or people still don't want his perspective or want him to be around, you're wrong. You're completely wrong. None of that will stop because he's great. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to be a Jet. He doesn't. But he wants to be. He wants to be. He gave back $30 million some dollars because he wants to be. But if you jack that up and fire some guys, I'm telling you, and I know people don't want to hear it. I know people don't want to hear it. But if you jack that up and you put this team in a situation where it doesn't look like he can compete for that ring and really make a playoff push and be a guy, if you make this to this, if you make it to where the outlook for this team to really be successful and have a great season is in peril, where he's in a rebuilding situation where we blow, because there was a lot of Jets fans, again, I talked to where we blow this situation up, bro, he's going to walk away. He's rehabbing hard and doing all these things to get back to a team that he believes can compete. That's what he believes. So I don't think they're going to fire anybody. And I know Jets fans don't want to hear it. I've been saying it constantly. I don't think we're going to fire anybody. We're going to run it back this next season That's what we're going to do, right? We're going to run it back this next season with Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to try to do their damnedest to go somewhere, whether it be a playoff berth, which, again, this will be 13 years. We missed the playoffs. 13. But if that doesn't come true, if next year the New York Jets don't see some type of real success, that's the only time I think we'll see heads roll. All right? I'm going to come to the chat quickly. Again, there's a poll in the chat. I want to hear from Jets fans. Do you think that Robert Saleh, that Joe Douglas and the coaching staff should be fired? I'm asking y'all that. Okay? Me personally, I'm saying no. I'm saying no, that they shouldn't be fired, because I know that they won't be fired, because Aaron Rodgers is the guy that's supposed to save us. And I know that there's Jets fans as well that are talking about, what the hell with Aaron Rodgers then? Get rid of him too. If he don't want to come back and if we fire these guys and he don't want to come back, Joe, will you get rid of him too? Let me tell you something. For those Jets fans, and they are real, because I've had discussions with them, okay? They're very real. I wish the phone lines were open tonight. I apologize, y'all. Again, the phone lines are down, okay? So if you're calling in, I apologize, okay? It's out of my control. It's out of my control, baby, okay? So we're going back and forth. Put your thoughts in the chat. I've had people tell me, Joe, then just get rid of Aaron Rodgers. You get rid of Aaron Rodgers. Okay, mind you, Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback we've ever had in our franchise history. Already, he's the greatest quarterback we've ever had. If you get rid of Aaron Rodgers, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. You're starting all over again. You're starting all over again. Because you have nothing. There's no answer at quarterback. Because I like Zach Wilson, but he has not shown you he can be a consistent starter. And there's nothing behind him either. Nothing. Zero. Then what is your answer there at quarterback if Aaron Rodgers walks away? Brett Rippon? Oh, by the way, right? I know we just talked about quarterback, but what about that offensive line? What about that O-line, though? What about that O-line, though? What about that O-line? How is a young quarterback going to survive or produce behind what we saw against the Dolphins? Nobody can, not even Aaron Rodgers. And that's why during the offseason, and again, I'll come to the Savages in a second. Keep putting your questions in the chat. Again, I apologize. The lines are down. For those of you that are just coming in, it is out of my hands. I talked about this offensive line and the transformation that it could go through this upcoming offseason. Well, let me tell you something. The Jets, as of right now, if you ask anybody, people want to get rid of Becton, people want to get rid of Laken Tomlinson, and people want to get rid of, or there's no answer, excuse me, not even get rid, but there's no answer at right tackle. That's 3 offensive line positions. Because as of right now, okay, and I'll come to the chat in a second. As of right now, I want to see ATV slid back into right guard. I love ATV. Fight on. As everybody knows, I'm an SC guy. I want to see him back at guard. I don't want him back at tackle. Those are 3 positions, vital positions that you have to have, not only to press to make the playoffs or press to succeed and have any big success in this league, but to succeed, period. You have to have those things shored up, an offensive line. Well, guess what? If you don't have those things in place, right, where are you getting the capital to address that? Where are you getting that from? We don't have a second-round pick in this upcoming draft, right? Where are you getting that from? You can't draft a quarterback. You can't do it because you're in win now mode. You can't draft a young quarterback and then give him no protection. You'll kill him. He'll be where Aaron Rodgers is at, on the sidelines, dealing with a broken spine and a torn ACL, MCL, PCL, and Achilles. He'll be dead too. So what do? You re-up with Aaron Rodgers. You go into the offseason, right? You better your offensive lines by any means necessary. And you come back next season. We're going to continue to have this conversation because I want to have this conversation with y'all. Again, I apologize. The lines are down. It is Blog Talk. They're trash. Okay? I'll be bashing Blog Talk on the next show too. Okay? I'll be doing that. All right? Salutes to everybody that's in the chat. All the savages. Again, keep voting up. We're going through a poll. Salutes to Mark White. He says, Joe, if we're going to run it back with this group, Woody should hire a president of operations reporting directly to him and his JD, his boss. Look, let me tell you something. I don't know if Woody's going to do that. But I think that Woody's going to remain in control, and I think that there's going to be – I don't know if there's going to be some type of hard mandate next year to make the playoffs, because if the Jets could win 10 games – right, next year and possibly miss the playoffs, I don't think they fire him if they do that either. But there has to be, I would think, to this point, if Aaron Rodgers is fully healthy next season, there has to be some type of jump in success for them to keep their jobs next season. After next season, excuse me. Because if there isn't a jump in wins, if Aaron Rodgers is fully healthy, that's when I believe heads will roll. I don't think they'll fire them in season because Woody Johnson don't do that. He didn't even fire Adam Gase in season. They fired Greg Williams before they fired Adam Gase, which is crazy. Whoa, that was crazy, okay? But that's what I think is real. Jack Kennis, salutes to you. Jack Kennis says, salutes to you, Jack. He says, are you thinking that Aaron Rodgers is not playing next year? No, I believe that he absolutely is going to play next season. Absolutely. And you know what's crazy? I want to let you guys hear about this as well, because he talked about playing next year too. He talked about playing past next year. I want you folks to hear this again. We'll keep coming to the chat, the savages. I'll keep getting to your questions. All right. But we're having this discussion. On the Pat McAfee show, he had this to say about possibly playing upcoming seasons playing upcoming seasons of football. Okay, listen here.
I don't think so. You know, I felt like when I came here that I got kind of a renewed passion and love for the game, and everything has been amazing here. Just the people I've gotten to work with, the relationships I've gotten to form with my teammates, and the amazing men and women that work here at One Jets Drive has been really special. I wanted, at least 2 years. I feel like this year is kind of a lost year now that I only played a couple snaps and wasn't able to go out there and improve what I'm capable of and see what we're capable of as a team. I don't think that next year will be my last year. With some of the things that I've learned over the last year, taking care of my body and surrounding myself with some great people who've been helping me with my nutrition and my functional training at a more acute level. I feel like I can play more years and I can be effective. I don't think so.
Now, as y'all heard him say right there, that he feels like he can play more years than just next year. And that leads me to believe that Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be here at least, and I've talked about this in the past, at least 2 to maybe 3 more years. 3 more years at the most. But I think at least 2 more years outside of this year, he's probably still going to be here. All right. Give me your thoughts in the chat. Salutes to How About Them Jets. All right. Salutes to you. Savage, I see you in the building. How About Them Jets says, Joe, are we picking O-line with the first pick or best player? That's a good question. Everyone knows I've always hated the best player available strategy. I also hated Mike McCagnon. I couldn't stand that guy. Oh my God. I could not stand Mike McCagnon, man. Whoa. Okay. Jeez Louise, I couldn't stand that guy, man. Oh, he was awful. Okay. I think we're going to go offensive line because you have to. There's no doubt about it. Okay. I know that there's a host of offensive line. It's supposed to be a very deep class, and we'll have that discussion when that time comes. Hopefully Blog Talk has gotten their crap together by then, okay, because they're trash. But we definitely are going offensive line because you have to protect your investment, whether it be Aaron Rodgers or whoever the heck the quarterback is going to be for the future. I've been talking about this for a minute. The New York Jets are going offensive line. Not only once, I think we're probably going to double, if not triple dip into the offensive line, okay? And I want to give this take because I want to be early. Everyone knows I like to be early. I believe that this upcoming draft, depending on what our free agency looks like, and as of right now, I think we're going to have like $16 million on the cap, which could expand with different things that we can do, blah, 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 right? We can cut various guys and all this other stuff. But as of right now, $16 million on the cap. I think the New York Jets are going to try their darndest to re-sign Huff, which absolutely needs to be done. And I think the New York Jets are going to try to attack the offensive line position like you've never seen before. And I think that Joe Douglas is going to do his damnedest to work up and down this board, up and down this draft board like we've never seen before. Excuse me. I think the New York Jets, as of now, I think we're sitting at like the 6th pick. How about them Jets? I think we're sitting at 6th as of right now. Okay? We'll see what happens at the end of the year where we're sitting. But we're sitting somewhere in the top 10. In my opinion, I believe that the New York Jets should trade down, garner as much capital as you possibly can because, again, we don't have a second-round pick, and draft offensive linemen after offensive linemen after offensive linemen. Because as of right now, you have a hole, and again, everyone's talking about moving on from Becton. I think that he's a guy that could be brought back. We'll see. Okay? Left tackle, right tackle, left guard. You have to address those 3 positions because you don't have any, like, real starters there. Laken Tomlinson's trash at left guard. He's awful. And if you want to get even more real, okay, ATV hasn't been healthy in 2 years. He hasn't been. You could, right, look at the situation like this and say, hey, we might even need a 4th offensive lineman just in case ATV goes down because he's great when he plays. But he's been hurt 2 years in a row, significant injuries. Ended the year on IR 2 years in a row, I believe. Last year was, I think it was his pectoral that he tore, or he tore something, and he was done for the season. Now this year it's an Achilles, and he was done for the season. You have to address the offensive line, and there's no doubt about it. We're going O-line. And what's crazy is we were going to go O-line this past draft too, but Broderick Jones got swept up, and we ended up with Will McDonald, who I think is a good pick. I know that people are talking about how little he plays, and believe me, the kid's going to be playing in the upcoming future for sure. We've already seen some really good stuff out of him. He's serious. He's serious business. And I think he's going to be really good. But we were going offensive line in this draft. And I think a part of, outside of the Patriots screwing us over, which is the Patriots, to heck with them as well. They're trash. Okay? Along with Blog Talk, trash. Okay? I think one of the biggest things that people don't talk about from this draft, from this past draft, with us getting screwed, is Darnell Wright getting picked, right, before Broderick Jones. That's really what started the screw train, because he would have been a decent fallback plan, but when he came off the board, I think the Bears took him. He went at 10. I don't remember who was there at 10. He went at 10, though, I think. And then the board continued to fall. Broderick Jones was the only guy left. That was the only top tackles in that class that was left. And the Patriots said, not today. We're going to send him to the AFC North. Deal with it. And they did it. Okay? And they did it. So I think the New York Jets are definitely going to double, triple, if not dip in there 4 times for some offensive line help. That's what they're going to do. I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets drafted a quarterback a little bit later in the draft either, to sit behind whoever the backup's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised. And I know Jets fan, and I'm not saying it should be done, but I honestly would not be surprised if Zach Wilson is brought back as a backup in some capacity this upcoming offseason. I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked. I know Jets fans will hate it. I'm not. Don't start DMing me, Joe. Don't. I'm telling you what I've seen from this front office. I would not be shocked if Zach Wilson somehow is sold to us again and is brought back and as a backup in some capacity this upcoming offseason. I wouldn't be shocked. Okay? I wouldn't be shocked. Tim's Collectibles salutes. He says Blog Talk is fired. Salutes Val. Salutes Outlaw. Outlaw says, I was trying to call. It's down. Robert Sulla. Every time. There's always discussion. Something happens on Blog Talk. Listen, they're trying to save him from you. Okay? I believe that Blog Talk and the Jets somehow are working together. Okay? When my audience is going to destroy them, the wires get crossed. Things get jacked up, and then it don't work. Okay? It don't work. They spared them last week. Okay? They was trash last week. We couldn't get it in. And now somehow, we back at this. So Outlaw says he was going to hear it today. Yeah, I know y'all was going to give it. Y'all was definitely going to destroy him. And again, I'm here to listen. Again, please give the stream a thumbs up, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you'll be in the know. Okay? Yeah, it's going to be very interesting going forward with the New York Jets. But again, I think our plan is pretty laid out. I think offensive line help is paramount. And what's crazy is, and I'm not saying this to be funny, but it's good that this upcoming draft is rife with offensive line guys. And not just like, oh, there's just a bunch of guys. No, guys that can really play. Okay, there's a guy, Joe Alt. He's really good. There's a bunch of really good tackles and linemen, tackles and guards in this draft that could really come in here and start. That's also another thing as well of what makes me think about Aaron Rodgers being here past this just year. And again, I'll continue to talk to y'all in the chat. Put your questions, put your thoughts. I'm reading them. Again, our lines are down. Blog Talk is garbage. Okay? All right? Listen. I'm a little worried, right? And this is one of the things that I'm thinking that Becton could be back. Because if you want to make a Super Bowl run next year, which a lot of Jets fans are saying, okay? If you want to make a Super Bowl run next year, your likelihood of drafting basically 3 rookies to play key positions for you, right? Those guys are going to have to be Super Bowl ready off the bat. And you got to wonder, like, are those guys really going to be ready for, like, the Bosas? Because that's who we're going to be facing. They're going to be ready for Joey Bosa. They're going to be ready for the pass rush of the Kansas City Chiefs. Are you going to be ready for the Eagles? You're going to be ready. That's a lot to ask a rookie lineman. That's a lot to ask a rookie lineman. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they bring back Mekhi Becton, right? Give him some type of deal. Which Mekhi, he had a bad game that was terrible against the Dolphins. Everyone knows I love Mekhi Becton, but I'm a realist. I keep everything 100, okay? He's been a little up and down as of recent. All right. But he's a guy that can give you some decent production. If they can bring him back, that allows you to then just focus on your right tackle and left guard position. So that kind of helps you shore up as far as from a resource standpoint. Because if not, I think that Joe Douglas is something else as well. I think that with the pressure and the seat getting hot, because the seat is getting hot. It's getting hot, baby. It's getting hot, okay? I think we're going to see Joe Douglas really do some things that maybe he would have been a little bit more hesitant to do these last 3 seasons. I think we might see Joe Douglas really dip into future drafts to move up, depending on if they how the board falls. If they move down, I think we're going to see him really try to utilize capital to trade back into, the first round and grab guys up, because we have to come back to the surest bets, right? These first round O-linemen, a lot of those guys in this upcoming draft, they're going to be day one starters, baby. They're going to be day one starters. And we're going to have to get back to that. So we're going to see. We're going to see. That's just my thought process. I'm putting it out there. All right. Just my thought process. All right. Adrian Gutierrez says, I believe that Joe Douglas failed on building a good O-line. Bringing Rodgers behind this O-line was a disaster from the beginning. That's a fact. That's a fact. I think one of the biggest mistakes the Jets made this past offseason was thinking that Dwayne Brown could really plays left tackle. Coming off of a injury-riddled season, which he was on IR last season as well, too. Then he comes back and literally doesn't play, doesn't practice, nothing at all until the basically before the Giants game in preseason. There was no chemistry built on the line, no nothing. And then boom, he's just thrusted into the season, and he's not he didn't even win the starting job. He just was handed the starting job, which is insanity to me. That was a horrible idea. Horrible. Val Outlaw says Joe Douglas should be fired more than anybody, along with Nathaniel Hackett. Not utilizing the backup quarterback position. Free agency picks have been terrible. Oh, wow. Okay. I'll defend Joe Douglas a little bit. I don't think his free agency has been as horrific as people say. Okay. Keep in mind, he did sign DJ Reed, Jordan Whitehead. Those guys have performed very well here. Okay. Carl Lawson gave us a little bit the first year. This last year, he's had some back issues. He's been healthy scratch a lot, right? He's made some moves that have really, you look at how this defense has turned around, a lot of it has been Joe Douglas, okay? He's made a lot of moves. Quincy Williams, that was Joe Douglas, right? Making sure the guy that re-signed came back. So I understand the offensive side of the ball. There's been a lot of rough situations. Alan Lazard, that was a rough signing, okay? So far. But again, somebody else would have signed Alan Lazard if we hadn't, right? He wasn't a horrible decision. Just to this point, hasn't worked out. Issues along the offensive line as well. You can absolutely, put on him. But again, those are mistakes that were made. Those are mistakes that are made. All right? Those are mistakes that are made. I'm listening. Mark White says the Jets are in a bad situation because free agents know the Jets will be desperate, so JD will have to overpay a lot next year, and we don't have those resources. I don't know if we'll have to overpay a lot, because I think there'll be a lot of guys that will be willing to come here and play with Aaron Rodgers. I think the allure of Aaron Rodgers will have a lot of guys want to come here and compete to win a Super Bowl, because with him you can. And I think that's going to play a big factor. I think the idea of us, the days of us being like a circus and dramatically overpaying for guys, I think Joe Douglas will be like, screw you, I'll just go to the draft. Because he is, he has drafted some really good pieces for us. Sauce, Jermaine Johnson, right? Breece Hall. Those are all pieces that we've Garrett Wilson. I could keep there. Those are pieces that were taken by him. So, but I think that again, the allure of Aaron Rodgers, and he even talked about it as well. Him, he's going to be working this offseason to bring guys in as well. He's going to recruit. I think that's going to be huge for the New York Jets as well. So, all right. Again, I'll keep getting to the chat. We're going to keep on going. I apologize. I know I'm a little behind on the chat. Okay. Salute to all the savages in the building. Give the stream a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you'll be in the know. All right. Also, share me across the social media with your friends and your family. Okay. For those of you that may not know, exclamation. Okay. This is my link tree. The link tree has links to all of my social media. It also has links to all of my YouTube pages. So please hit that. So, and again, my phones are not working. Okay. Blog Talk is trash. All right. This is out of my control, but we're going to keep rolling because I'm here with the Savages. I love this team like y'all do. And I want to go back and forth with y'all. Okay. So my phones are not working. All right. But usually, for those of you that are new, okay, this phone number here actually works sometimes. Blog Talk is garbage. Garbage. Jay salutes. Jay says, we need another legit wide receiver. Garrett has no help. Yeah, I think the New York Jets are also going to grab that as well. I think they'll go after a wide receiver probably in the draft this upcoming year. I don't know about a wide receiver in free agency. Unless a guy falls out and he really wants to come here, I don't think we have the capital really to dramatically overpay for a wide receiver in free agency coming up. All right. Jack Kenneth salutes. Jack Kenneth says the Jets have no second round pick. There's nothing to trade for DA. Oh, listen. I understand that there's a lot of Jets fans that are talking about grabbing DA from the Raiders. That ain't happening. We do not have the capital to grab him. He's phenomenal. He's a great wide receiver. Him and Aaron Rodgers have a great rapport. Amazing. He ain't coming here. And I think also since the Raiders have made a change at their head coach situation, right? I think that really has shored up a lot of the issues over there too, because the big problems was McDaniels, and we all know that, okay? And they've moved on, but they're not. We don't have a first round pick to give up for him, and I think you're gonna have to give up a first round pick and some more for him. He's that good. Jack Kenner also goes on to say, as a Raiders fan, give me Quentin Williams sauce. Jack, I love you. You're dreaming. You're dreaming. You're not getting Quentin Williams and sauce in a first, so you're not doing that. All right. We're not doing that. Okay. Those are foundational pieces that we need to continue to move forward. Not happening. All right. Not happening. How about them Jets says, are you passing on Marvin Harrison Jr. over an O-line guy? Yes, I am. And I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is phenomenal. The Jets need an offensive lineman in a real way. Marvin Harrison Jr. will be useless if we don't have two tackles. He'll have nobody to throw the ball to him. Bro, we got Garrett Wilson. like we got Garrett Wilson, who's phenomenal, and he can't get the ball consistently because we can't get the ball to him because Aaron Rodgers was running for his life. Zach Wilson was running for his life. Tim Boyle was running for his life. He sucked. Right? Trevor Siemian running for his life. Like, all these guys are running for their life. You can't throw the ball. And that's what I was talking about this past offseason, right? When everybody was like, Joe, the offensive line is going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Dwayne Brown, he's a veteran. Oh, don't worry about the pass rush getting to the quarterback, Joe. Aaron Rodgers is going to get the ball out of his hands fast enough. And I kept telling people, listen, I watched Patrick Mahomes, right, run for his life in the Super Bowl because he lacked protection. And he looked like Sam Darnold. He didn't look like the Patrick Mahomes we all know. You telling me a generational guy like Patrick Mahomes looks like that under duress, and any quarterback that we have here, including Aaron Rodgers, won't look like that under duress with our offensive line? Oh, Joe, don't worry about it. It's Aaron Rodgers. Here we are. I understand. Listen, Marvin Harrison, he'd be great. Go get a tackle. Go get a tackle. Go get a tackle. Because he will be useless here if we don't have a tackle. All right? Right tackle, left tackle, it don't matter. Even people talking about Tristan Wirfs and like all these past drafts and stuff like that, and it's on record. I love Mekhi Becton, but anybody that was listening to me at that time, it's on record. I stand firm in my takes. Yes, I was a guy that was screaming for Tristan Wirfs, yes. And yes, people immediately told me, Joe, it doesn't matter. He's not a franchise left tackle. He's a right tackle, Joe. And I was telling people at that time, it does not matter. We need a right tackle too. If he's a generational right tackle, I'll take that. And we can figure out left tackle too. Again, I had no issues when the Jets took Mekhi Becton. Everybody knows I'm a Mekhi Becton supporter, even though he was trash against the Dolphins. Wasn't playing very well, okay? I keep it real. But you must take a tackle. If you don't, your quarterback is not going to survive. If you do not, and I've always said this, if you don't set the table, your quarterback's not going to eat. If you don't set the table, you can't expect your quarterback to eat, dog. If you cannot properly protect your quarterback, the game, NFL football starts in the trenches. If you do not have somebody to stop Bosa from decapitating your quarterback, I don't give a damn what you have at wideout. It's a wrap for you. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Go get a tackle. Okay? Go get a tackle. All right? But again, I do think that Devontae Adams, it's a good wide receiver too. We ain't got the capital to take him. Okay? We ain't got the capital. All right? So we're going to keep on going. Salutes again to all the savages in the chat, man. Put your questions, your thoughts in the chat. Again, we got a poll up. A lot of people want to see Joe Douglas and Sulla fired. I'm here to listen. Okay? And I'm only laughing because I ban. People immediately, Joe, get him out of here. Oh, God. I want him gone, Joe. Fire. It was coming from all sides. I'm talking about, I'm just sitting down and somebody just popped up. Hey, Joe, he better be fired. He disappeared. Then one of my Jet sisters popped up. Joe, you better fire him. And I'm like, whoa, where are you guys coming from? All right. Man. It was crazy. All right. Man, oh, man. NY Jets FL salutes to you. He says, Joe, if the Cowboys implode and they fire Mike McCarthy, can he be our OC? How was Rodgers' relationship with McCarthy? Whoa. Woo! Let me tell you something, okay? Baby, I don't think that's going to happen, okay? As everyone knows, I love Aaron Rodgers. I definitely kept my eyes in Green Bay, all right, for these last couple years. When Mike McCarthy was let go, there was a lot of stories that came out from Green Bay about issues between him and McCarthy and play calling and all kinds of things. Stuff about Mike McCarthy basically not being prepared. And it was all kinds of stuff going on, all right? I don't think that's going to happen. Me personally. I think if he gets let go from the Cowboys, and there's a lot of things that have gone on over there too, where he's literally sleptwalked in some games where, man, I have friends that are Cowboys fans. And there have been some games that I've sat and watched with them where I was like, what in the world is he doing? His time management and some of the play calling has been erroneous, okay, at times, all right? If he gets fired, I don't think he'll end up being our offensive coordinator. I think I don't think that anyone's going to get fired here at all, especially not Hackett. But if Hackett does go, I think we'll get a guy that scheme is very similar to Hackett. That West Coasty kind of stuff that they were running, that Matt LaFleur runs, that Mike LaFleur runs, the Shanahan system kind of thing. I think we'll get somebody else, but we will not get Mike McCarthy. And Mike McCarthy, you know, he's got a good offensive mind, but it's not going to work. I remember again the last. Again, I kept my eye over there, but that their relationship wasn't the best, especially when he was leaving. It wasn't the best at all. So I don't think it happens. Yeah, so it's it's rough, but I don't think that again, I don't think that anyone's getting fired. I think Hackett's going to be here for, the foreseeable future unless Aaron Rodgers signs off on something. None of those guys are getting fired, so none of them. NY Jets FL says we need to trade down for a QB needy team. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I think wherever we end up in the draft, as of right now, I think we have like the 6th pick. If the draft was today and the season ended, we'd have the 6th pick in the NFL draft. I think that we'll end up trading down, gathering as much capital as possible, and attacking the offensive line position. Also, possibly getting a weapon at wide receiver in the draft. Okay, I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, the script is already kind of written for itself, right? Because that's what we need. And we're in win now mode with Aaron Rodgers, and that's what's going to happen. So I think, it kind of is what it is, man. Kind of is what it is. Chris, salutes to you, Chris. Chris says, how feasible is an Adams trade? Are you talking about Jamal Adams? Let me know. I hope you're not talking about bringing Jamal Adams back here. I hope not, because I am so glad that guy is gone. And, man, I got crap upon crap upon crap for talking about how much we need to get rid of Jamal Adams. And, boy, are y'all seeing exactly what I told y'all. Y'all seeing exactly what I told y'all. I was talking about that a year and a half before it happened. Jamal Adams was a fraud, man. He was a fraud. He was such a fraud. He was such a fraud, man. Oh, my Lord. From the play, like, don't even get me started. I'm not even going to go into that. But he was a fraud, okay? Not just, there was stuff on the field. He was fraudulent. And then even off the field, the fan base, and he was fraudulent, man. He was so fraudulent. They've already benched him with the Seahawks, I believe. He literally plays like he's an undersized outside linebacker. He's not a very good safety, okay? And if you ain't blitzing him, and even if you are blitzing him, the second that he gets a taste of a good offensive line, he's ineffective. He can't do anything. So, no, I'm not interested at all, okay? Not interested at all. Mr. Magic salutes. Mr. Magic says, Joe, also, again, please keep putting your comments into the chat, your questions. I'm going back and forth with everybody. There's a poll at the top of the chat asking your thoughts. I've got Jets fans that are screaming at me, Joe, we need to fire Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas, and everybody. Do you think we should do that? It's at the top of the chat, all right? Mr. Magic salutes to you, Savage. Mr. Magic says, Joe, you know JD and Saleh are going to tap out the salary cap and draft picks out of desperation. That is a fact. Next year, when they're fired, it will take 2 years to dig out of the hole. Salutes to you, Mr. Magics. Listen, I'm not gonna say I don't want to see him get fired. Okay, I don't want to. I know we laugh a lot and we have a lot of fun here, because that's what we do. Okay. We're Jets fans. You have to laugh to keep from crying, right? But I do think, again, and I talked about this earlier, I think we're going to see Joe Douglas make some moves that he might not have made in the first couple years he was here, because we're right there at the doorstep, 1, and 2, because that seat is hot, baby. That seat is hot, okay? It's hot, and he's going to make some moves. Now, there's some things salary cap wise that I think he'll have to maneuver around. But as far as the draft, drafting up, drafting down, taking capital from future draft, maybe higher picks, taking a second round pick from a future draft, 2025 or 2026 to move in 2024 to grab this guy to get back up to the first round to grab. He's gonna make some moves like that, because you have to get closest to the surest bet. Because next year, There are Jets fans that are screaming Super Bowl or bust with Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm telling you, that's what they've been saying since we got him, right? Super Bowl or bust. This year, Super Bowl year. Next year, Aaron Rodgers coming back as a Super Bowl year. You better have some guys that are as close to being as solidified as possible coming out of this draft along the most important position group on the team that impacts, affects, and protects the biggest position on the team, which is the quarterback position. You better have guys that are solidified, because if you don't, and he goes down again next year and misses significant time like he did this year, and it completely derails our season, brother, somebody's going to have to answer that call, okay? Somebody's going to answer that call. Venom G salutes. Venom G says, facts, Joe. We've been screaming that for years. Yeah. Offensive line figuring things out. All right. Offensive line, they better figure it out. All right. Better figure it out. I'm telling you, that tackle spot, and there's guys, again, this upcoming draft that are really good. We're very lucky that one of our greatest needs, right, one of our biggest needs is here, right, is going to be very available in this upcoming draft. We're very lucky, because this could be a year like it was like last season, where the tackles, there were some guys, but then after them, it was a fall off. It was a drop off. This year, this class, from everything we're talking about, it's been riddled with people, with Alt and, again, various other guys, and we'll talk about that, that can come in here and really start day one and really push and really be good here for us. So, again, please keep putting your comments into the chat. All right. Really like going back and forth. Chris says, preach. Alt and there's a bunch of guys. Latham, there's a bunch of guys that are really good tackles, and we better grab them, especially when we're talking about getting rid of all these guys. All right. Y'all want to move on from Becton? We want to move on from all those guys? I'm here. Lil Balloon salutes to you. Good to see you in the building again. All right. He says, how do you feel about the Kevin Byard to Eagles? Coming from a Titans fan, he was the last thing holding our defense together. He's a good player, man. He's a good guy. I think that, that's a move that they made. Again, the Titans, and I know you're a big Titans guy. The Titans are in a situation, man, where, they're trying to figure some things out. Again, we've heard about them being willing to move on from certain players. They're starting to really stack and try to make a push. But the Titans, you guys have the right guys in place. Your coaching staff, it's in a good spot to really be able to make that turn. Of course, you got to, rebuild. You got to get younger guys into the building. You got to do some different things. I think you guys made a mistake trading away the wide receiver to the Eagles. I don't know what the hell y'all was thinking trading Brown to the Eagles, but okay, we all make mistakes. But yeah, kind of is what it is there. But Bayard's a good player, man. Good safety. I know he's been there for a minute for y'all, and you guys are really just, you're in that rebuild mode, man. You're in that rebuild mode. But honestly, rebuilding, don't hold your head. It happens. Everybody rebuilds. I don't give a crap who you are. Everybody rebuilds in this league. It's part of the life cycle. Okay. Even the Patriots. The Patriots won a ton of Super Bowls. They rebuild. Okay. They rebuild them. And even hearing about people screaming about firing Belichick, which I'm not going to say I'm going to be sad if it happens, but I'm shocked that they're even talking about firing that man. That is crazy. But this is the NFL. Okay. And they're going through a process over there. And we'll see what happens. But the Titans are going through there. But you guys got guys in place, man. Vrabel, and you guys will be okay. You get some good, young, well-coached talent in there. You guys will be right back into it in no time, man. In no time. So we'll see what happens going forward. I know you guys there was talks about Derrick Henry being moved on from and stuff, and we know that, man, King Henry has been crazy over there for y'all. So, but salutes, Lil Balloon. We'll keep keep coming to the line. Again, Lil Balloon says, when we gave up AJ, I knew it was reboot time. Yeah, I don't know what the hell y'all was thinking about giving away AJ Brown. Boy, that dude is doing work with the Eagles, let me tell you. And that's a really good wide receiver, big body guy, and he has really landed. And man. But hey, you guys are gonna find y'all way. Y'all gonna keep moving, keep shaking. And y'all gonna keep making some things happen as well. Again, because like I said, y'all have a really solid foundation as far as your coaching. Coaching's good, and then you got I have to make sure I pronounce his name right. Will Levis, I believe is his name. Anybody can correct me. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, but he's a guy that has shown a little something. Maybe he's the guy for the future. We'll see. He's a guy when you can get that quarterback situation squared away, it makes a lot of things easier. Look at me, I'm a Jets fan, right? We've been trying to square this quarterback situation away for quite some time. But when you have that quarterback situation squared away, you can start filling out those other pieces around them, and then you'll see success a bit faster. All right. We tried it, and here we are with Aaron Rodgers. So Dakota salutes to you. Dakota says, clean house time. I told you. I'll keep telling y'all. Listen, salute and respect to Dakota. Okay? Dakota comes in and spits their mind. And I have no issue. I'm here to listen. Okay? I'm here to listen. All right? But like I tell y'all, there are Jets fans that want to get rid of everybody. Okay? Everybody. Mark White salutes. Mark White says, we need to do like the Raiders did and hire a president of operations. Take some responsibility out of JD's hands. Let him focus on fixing his mistakes. Well, we'll see. We shall see what happens. Okay? Because JD's the man in charge, man. He changed the structure. He did everything he needed to do. Set the table, brought in his guys. When they got here, man, when he came into the building, he made sure that what happened to Mike McCagnon was not going to happen to him, okay? He changed the reporting structure. The second they fired Adam Gase, he changed the reporting structure, all right? Brought his guys in. He's got his staff, all those guys. Those are all his guys. He brought his scouts in. He got rid of some scouts from the Jets, too, that was here. Clean those guys out. Get that rubbish up out of here. He got those guys up out of here. Like, he moved and shaked, all right? He moved and shaked and got the guys, hired his coaches, hired everybody, And so we'll see what happens going forward, man. We'll see what happens going forward. Man, oh, man. Also, for those of you that may not know, Aaron Rodgers is also today. I know we've talked about Aaron Rodgers a lot tonight, but Aaron Rodgers has also, officially closed the door on him returning to the field. And he talked about that today as well with Pat McAfee. I want to give you guys a little audio for that and let you guys hear what he had to say. Here it goes.
To play, but the fact is, I'm not. I've been working hard to get closer to that, but I'm still, 14 weeks tomorrow from my surgery, and being medically cleared as 100% healed is just not realistic at 14 weeks.
So I think everybody says that makes a lot of sense. Okay, like if you were willing to risk not being 100% to get back in there for a team that had a chance to go on a run and make the playoffs and do everything, I think that would have made sense too as people. I think we would have been like, all right, that makes sense. If he's at 70%, 65, 75%, whatever it is, but they still have a chance to go on a run, this is still a storybook, right? This is still a storybook.
It still would have, again, we're in the hypothetical world, so it still would have been, I would have, if we win Sunday, then I need to go through a week of 11-on-11 practice, taking team reps, seeing how I respond to that, seeing how much I can move in the pocket, seeing can I get out of the pocket. So there still would have been a conversation. It would have just been, it wouldn't have been, hey, we won, you're activated, you're for sure playing. Now, I obviously, being a competitor, I would have pushed it as hard as I could this week, but it still would have been a conversation. I would have had to, check all the boxes, practice well, respond well, the next day after some of these 11-on-11 sessions, and then the conversation between Woody and Joe and Robert and Dave and the medical staff and Neil Elatrosh and myself to determine whether or not they were going to ultimately clear me.
And see, that is something that I've been talking about that as well. I've had discussions with multiple Jets fans, and I've been saying I don't think that Aaron Rodgers was ever realistically coming back. Once he tore his Achilles Monday night, even though he was working to get back and all that talk and blah, 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 like I told people he's not coming back this season. One, because he was never going to be 100%, okay? And the last thing you want to do is put a guy that was 40 years old. He's going to be 40 years old, or he is 40 years old. I think he'll be 41 by the time the season rolls around next season. The last thing you want to do is put a guy like that on the field, right, to possibly re-injure that or make it worse, because then that puts all the future seasons in peril, okay? And that's the last thing you want to do. That's the last thing you want to do. I don't think he was ever coming back, and I get it. He's pushing to get back, and there are people that, you know, love the story, and he's Aaron Rodgers and blah, blah, blah. All right? Excuse me. You got to think about the bigger picture. Okay? Got to think about the bigger picture. And the bigger picture says no. Especially with him here, that Super Bowl window opens tremendously. So I don't think that Aaron Rodgers was ever coming back. And again, today he officially, put an end to that idea. Like I said, even when he spoke about it a couple weeks ago, saying that even if he came back, he wouldn't be 100%. I said, oh, shut that down. Shut it down. He's not coming back. It's too much to risk, too much anything. Don't do it. Sit him down, especially with the money he's making. A lot of people are not talking about the money. Bruh, how much money we owe him. I think he's making like $40 million or something. And then it's like 60 something million the next year. Brother, listen. It ain't happening. All right? It ain't happening. I don't think he was ever coming back. And I think the smart decision was to put an end to that, as soon as possible. I think even if we were in a playoff chase, he was not going to come back. He just wasn't going to come back. So to put that on that, okay? Salute to all the savages in the chat, man. Again, I apologize for those of you that want to call in, okay? Hopefully we'll be able to get back to that, all right? Or I'll figure something out, all right? Because Block Talk sucks, okay? But as you all know, I love going back and forth with y'all. Salutes to Christopher Phillips. He's in the chat. He says, we need 3 offensive linemen. I'm very disappointed in Mekhi Becton. I thought he was our long-term answer at left tackle. Yeah, he had a tough game. He had a bad game. A bad game against the Dolphins. That was terrible. All right? He was terrible. But there's a chance he could come back. There's a chance I think they will re-sign him because he's had some great games this season where he's really good. That Eagles game, he was dominant. He was really good in that game. So he's had more ups than downs. But that Dolphins game, he was awful. He's been a little up and down these last couple games. But, we'll see what happens going forward. But man, he's been healthy. He's been looking good. So excited about him. And we'll see what happens going forward with him. But if you don't re-sign him, more capital will be need to be utilized for this offensive line. Definitely more capital. So, man, let me address this. We're going to close this poll in a second, okay? Get your final votes in. Close the poll. Do you believe that Joe Douglas, do you think the Jets should fire Joe Douglas and the coaching staff? Okay, we're going to close the poll in 3, 2, 1. We're going to close the poll. All right, we're ending the poll here. All right, we're going to see what time it is, what's going on here. Okay. Yo, this is crazy. It is 50-50. 50-50 between the Savages. Should the Jets fire Joe Douglas and the coaching staff? 50% say yes and 50% say no. Wow. Wow. That's all I can say is wow, man. I'm telling you. It's split. It's split. I'm more on the side to this point of no. But if you keep having these performances, man, like the thing I'm the most concerned about though, because again, I don't think they will get fired, but again, I know it's going to get louder if they keep having these bad performances. I'm concerned about Robert Saleh losing the team. I am. Especially when I'm hearing players like Garrett Wilson come out and agree with things that Alan Lazard is saying about how they're getting out-schemed, basically out-coached and out-efforted. Like that, man, I don't want to see that going forward at all. So, but Savages split 50-50. Very interesting, very interesting. All right. Salutes Little Balloon. I'll address that in a little bit. Q Cash, salutes to you. Good to see you in the building as well. Q says, what do you think about moving ATV next season to left tackle? I don't think they should do that. I don't think they should. I think they need to put ATV back at guard. I do. That's where I think we've seen him have the most success. I think that's and even again, I'm a USC guy, so I watched him. He played left tackle at SC for sure. He played tackle, but I coming into the league, I thought he would be a great guard, and he is. He's a great guard. I just want to see him back in the trench or back in that guard spot, and I think we need to draft, a left tackle and probably a right tackle in this upcoming draft. If we don't keep Becton, which Mekhi Becton again, I think returning is more real than a lot of people think it is. Especially coming off this bad Dolphins game. I think there's some, you can lend some credence to that. But if we do move on from him, I think the New York Jets definitely need to draft a left tackle, draft a right tackle. And you're probably going to be looking at drafting a left guard as well, because Laken Tomlinson he is bad. Okay, he is bad. So with that said, it's been phenomenal speaking with you folks. I know we got Washington coming up. I want to take the Jets, man. But, again, Zach Wilson's in the concussion protocol. If he doesn't play, then we're probably going to see, or we're definitely going to see Trevor Siemian out there, because that's what Robert Saleh said. Man, it's rough. It's rough. I feel like this is a game the Jets defense is good enough to really, put some things together and get a W. But the offense has been so up and down, man. It's been so up and down. It's tough for me to pick the Jets in this one. Really tough for me to pick the Jets. You look at the situation, man. Even though we're going to be at home, I think I'm going to take the Commanders to win that game, man. I think I'm going to take the Commanders to win it in a stinker. Probably 17-10. Take the Commanders. That hurt, but I think that's what's going to happen, to be completely honest. Mark White says, Joe, do you think the Jets will put their foot down and trade or cut some of the useless players Aaron brought over? Yeah, I think there's a possibility they could. I mean, they already cut Tim Boyle. Right? Tim Boyle was a guy that was brought over because he knew he knew the offense through and through, guys. Remember? He knew the offense through and through, right? He knew the offense through and through. Tim Boyle, he's come on. Like, he sucked. They already got rid of him. I could see Billy Turner being up out of here with the swiftness. He is awful. I mean, Robert Saleh's already said that. He already said that Alan Lazard is going to be here for another year and a half. And they go get his ass up out of here too. So he's probably going to be gone after about a year and a half. Randall Cobb has been a healthy scratch like pretty much most of the year. So yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's about putting their foot down, really. I think bringing a lot of those guys in, right, was trying to bring guys in that were familiar with the scheme so that they could help the progression of the scheme. Now, of course, those guys, it didn't work out because those guys I mean, Alan Lazard, who I was hyped about, right? I was so hyped about Alan Lazard because I watch Alan Lazard. I know, at least when I watched him in Green Bay, the Alan Lazard that I'm seeing right now, that's why I turned the heat up on him about 3 weeks ago. I was talking about benching him and getting rid of him about 3 weeks in a row. And people were like, Joe, you're tripping, until he got benched. And I was like, have y'all been watching these games? Because everybody was just trying to blame everything on Zach. And I get it. Zach's not Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts. But this man is dropping everything coming his way. He's running some of the laziest routes I've ever seen in my life. When the ball comes towards him, he's not fighting for it. He looks lost out there in space. He's not trying. And I can see it because I watch him. This is not the same Alan Lazard that I saw with the Packers. And I don't know what is going on with him. I don't know. But I know he ain't producing or performing up to standard. And when I turned the heat up on him, people was like, no, Joe, it's just Zach. And then the coaching staff, Robert Saleh, came out and turned the heat up on him. Bruh, oh, my goodness. I wish our wide receiver coach came out as well and talked about how the Jets were trying to go into the wide receiver room and get a guy that could be on the other side of Garrett Wilson. I think it was Zach Asani, I believe is our wide receiver coach. He talked about they were in the wide receiver room and they were saying, look, Garrett Wilson, clearly our number one guy. We're looking to get a guy. We're looking for somebody to step up in this room and be the number 2 wide receiver. Bro, we just paid Alan Lazard $44 million. What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? Who's going to be the number 1 wide receiver? And you know what else he said? He said we're trying to get somebody to be the number 2 wide receiver, and so far nobody stepped up. Brother. Yeah, Alan Lazard, he's in some deep doo-doo, okay? He's in some deep doo-doo, and I'm going to just leave it at that. If he don't get it together, next season, Aaron Rodgers is going to be out there. He's going to be here because he's owed money. But when you have a positional coach come out and say, we are in the wide receiver room and we're letting it be known, we are looking for someone else to step up and be the number 2 wide receiver to Garrett Wilson's number 1, and nobody has stepped up yet to grab that position. Bro, Alan Lazard is literally competing against like undrafted wide receiver, Jason Brownlee and Malik Taylor and Xavier Gibson. Like, those are the young guys we got. Those guys are undrafted. Of course, we got Cobb, but Cobb is not a number 2. Not in this point in his career. What the hell is going on? What's going on, bruh? Boy, Alan Lazard better step it up, okay? Alan Lazard better step it up, okay? Mark White salutes. Mark White says, Joe, it kind of feels like Aaron said to Green Bay friends, come with me and I'll get you a retirement plan with the Jets, and we may have a shot at the Super Bowl. I mean, I hear y'all. I hear you. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers brought those guys in and thought they were going to be as bad as they are. And again, I don't think it was just about Aaron. I don't think Aaron Rodgers did all of this. This had to be signed off on. And everybody I know, because it's easy to just say, it's Aaron Rodgers. No, it was Nathaniel Hackett. That's who did this. If Nathaniel Hackett did not want those guys here, they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be. Right? Look at the guys who we got rid of. Bro, we got rid of Elijah Moore immediately. Denzel Mims too. Right? We got rid of Denzel Mims. Anybody remember this wide receiver room, how it looked before all the departures? Right? Corey Davis retired. Who knows what's going to happen? There's been rumors about him coming back in the future. I don't know. Okay? Elijah Moore, traded, gone. Denzel Mims, cut, gone. Like, you know, those guys coming in here, Cobb, and even the guys that, like, you have to know that Nathaniel Hackett was vying for these guys to be signed and brought in here because they already know the scheme. And that's why and this is something that I talked about earlier tonight. the importance of immediate production offensively, because we knew the second that we brought Aaron Rodgers in here, every Jets fan said this is Super Bowl season. Well, you're bringing in a new offensive scheme. You better have guys that are familiar with this, because it's tough to have a competent, boom, immediate go spark offense that can go out there and be a top 15 offense, top 10 offense in the first year. That is very tough to do. In the first year, that is rough, because guys are trying to learn the scheme, get their footing. So they said, yo, let's bring in some guys that are familiar at different spots. We get a big playmaker that like Alan Lazard. Okay, we can bring him in here. We got Aaron Rodgers and it just didn't work out. It didn't work out, man. It did not work out. All right. Q Cash salutes. Q Cash says, so with our offensive line needing revamping, possibly 3 offensive linemen, and revamping our wide receiver room because no one gets open outside of Wilson, what can we do with limited salary cap and limited draft capital? I think, again, I think that there's a little bit more to that as well. I think our tight ends are probably going to be utilized a bit more going forward as well. In our receiving game, Jeremy Ruckert, who I think has been very good this year, I think we'll at some point move on from CJ Uzama. Tyler Conklin's been very solid too for us. I think that if we continue forward, I think that Aaron Rodgers coming back next season is going to solve a lot of issues, because the way the defenses are going to have to approach covering us is going to be completely different than with any other quarterback that we have on the roster. And to keep it real with y'all, Aaron Rodgers is the ipso facto offensive coordinator. That's the guy that really is making the decisions out there on the field. Like, he's the guy really checking in and out of plays and calling stuff that he'll get it. And we see it, man. We can see this now. If he gets something from Nathaniel Hackett he don't like, he just check out of it. He's even talked about it himself, checking out of stuff. Okay? So, I think with Aaron Rodgers here, I think things will be different. Things will be much different, okay? But I still think we're going to go after a wide receiver, and I think a lot of the things that we're going to do is going to come from the draft, because I don't think we'll have the money available as of right now, okay? Cap geniuses, I know, oh my goodness, the Cap boys, they're going to come after me, okay? Oh my God, Joe, we can do anything. Listen, as of right now, we got 16 million on the cap as of right now. There's a lot of things we can do, okay, to make that number grow. But as of right now, we got 16 million on the cap, and I think that signing Huff is a must. We must retain him. And then after that, I don't think you want to necessarily be an indentured servant to the free agency market, because you're going to dramatically overpay. Devontae Adams, I don't think is realistic, because you have to address your offensive line. I think we're going to have to grab a young, speedy wide receiver in this upcoming draft. That's what we're going to do. And I think that Joe Douglas is going to start to mortgage capital from future drafts to do that, outside of just trading down from this draft, okay? And again, I think at this point in the draft, we're at 6th or 5th, I think. Outlaw, I think somebody said we might be at 5th spot. We're somewhere around there. I think we'll trade down and gain capital that way, Q. So we're definitely going to address that in the draft. So we'll see what happens. Again, Huff is a must to be brought back. He's a must. We must keep him in the facility. Mike White says, do we franchise Huff? If need be, we'll do it. If need be. I guarantee you we're going to do it. We cannot let him go. We can't do it. We shouldn't do it. Not if we're talking about succeeding. Not if we're talking about winning or competing, for Super Bowls. You can't let him go. You need as much pass rush as possible. Okay, ask the teams in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl that have lost to Patrick Mahomes how that felt. Ask him. Ask him. Ask him how much they wished they had one more guy to chase him, to decapitate him. Ask those teams. Ask him. Yeah. Ask him. And that's just one guy. Have y'all seen Lamar Jackson this season? Hey, yo. Lamar is doing work. Okay? There's various other guys, too. Josh Allen was looking. We're going to be facing, listen, that Super Bowl path, okay, it's riddled with good teams. And if you can't get after them, good luck. Okay? Good luck. All right? Man, Outlaw says, I told you at the beginning of the year, I was not all that excited about the wide receiver room. We need at least one more player. Yeah. Lil Balloon says, crazy to think how much injuries affect the game in the long term. Yeah. Especially injuries at quarterback. Especially, right? You look completely different. We look completely different, at least, with injuries at quarterback. Outlaw says, Chris Rock was trying to recruit your guy from SC. Yeah, Caleb Williams, yeah. I like Chris Rock. He's a good dude. I know he's a big Jets fan, too. He's a big Jet fan. Caleb Williams ain't coming here. He going to be gone. He going to be gone one. And I don't think the Jets are going to take a quarterback in this upcoming draft at all. Caleb is good. He's really good. He's a good player. I know he's gotten some flack for some of the losses we've had this season. But he's a guy that I think can see some success in this league. But, yeah, he's a good player. Good player. Hyro salutes. Hyro says, we have 7 picks, and I want 1 QB and 6 alignment. Salutes. Lil Balloon says, Rodgers is darn near a head coach. Yeah, no, real talk. He literally is like our offensive coordinator. For real. I mean, he built the system with Nathaniel Hackett. It's literally their offensive system. It's their baby. Like, yeah, he is that guy. Outlaw says, do you believe the Jets should trade back off their first round pick? Yes, I do. I think we should absolutely trade back, and we should fleece whatever team is trying to move up. We should absolutely abuse them for one of these quarterbacks that's coming out. The same way that they would do that to us. So, yeah. Outlaw says, I was just waiting to the end of the year to bring up Lamar Jackson. Think about Yo, let me tell y'all something about Outlaw, man. He gonna let you know. He gonna let you know. Okay? Me, myself, I'm a guy that I just want to have that conversation. He gonna let you know. Okay? He gonna let you know. Outlaw says, I was just waiting till the end of the year to bring up Lamar Jackson. Thing after everybody was saying that he can't throw and that he's just a running back. Yeah, I remember that. He also says people was not wanting Lamar. They did not want Lamar Jackson on this team. That's crazy. I mean, there was a lot of things going on in Lamar Jackson. Him being traded, I thought was unrealistic anyway. But yeah, there was a lot of people saying that, oh, Joe, he's just a running back and all this other stuff. And I was like, I mean, it's not realistic. I don't think we'll end up with him anyway, but he's way more than a running back. Like, y'all not watching him. And he is cooking people this season. Woo! Oh, man. If the Ravens ever really, really, like, truly invest in the offense, oh, my God. Not saying I wish the best for everybody, and I'm not saying I want to see anyone fail or nothing like that, but I'm a Jets fan. I put the Jets first. But, bruh, I don't think the NFL is going to be ready for if they ever really, like, turn the lights on offensively and really continue to build around him. Brother. He can't be stopped, bruh. He can't be stopped. And he's gotten to a point now where he really is throw first. He don't be taking off. Man, but when he take off, he will work you. Some last question. Mark White says, do you think it looks worse on JD if the O-line is fixed and a backup QB gets us to the – do you think it's worse? Let me reread this. Do you think it's worse? Do you think it looks worse on JD if the O-line is fixed and a backup QB help get us to the playoffs? If the O-line is fixed, I don't know why Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be starting, but I don't think it looks worse at all. I think anything. Get into the playoffs. We haven't been to the playoffs in 13 years. I think the Jets fans would rejoice regardless. If the O-line is fixed, Aaron Rodgers should be healthy, and he should be playing. If he just somehow gets injured running around by himself for whatever reason and a backup quarterback gets us to the playoffs, that'd be fine. I don't think it looks bad at all. I think Joe Douglas needs to shore up this position because if he doesn't, then he might be our starting quarterback because no one's going to be able to survive. Okay? No one. And no one has. We've seen it. We've seen the Jets have protection issues for years, right? Mark Sanchez at the end of his tenure, that offensive line has some issues, right? You look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold never had an offensive line that could protect him. He was getting blasted left and right. You keep going through the names, it's the same, kind of the same stuff, right? Kind of the same stuff. So yeah. Listen, it's been a blast talking to y'all tonight. I got to slide off, all right? Salutes to everybody. Again, I apologize, okay? Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you'll be in the know. Please give the stream a thumbs up, all right? And again, subscribe if you haven't, okay? Generally, this phone number here works. Blog Talk is trash, okay? We'll figure something out. Hopefully, Blog Talk is working at some point, okay? And we'll get back to taking calls, but I do take live calls on the show, all right? The only thing I don't allow on my show is cursing. Don't call into my show cursing, bro. I will get you up out of here. Don't do that. This is YouTube. Respect my platform, okay? So we have a lot of fun doing that. I take live calls. It's a 2-hour show. We have a blast. We talk to everybody. Lil Balloon, I'll come to you in a second. I'll see you. I know there's there's a lot of people that are so upset with me, and I'll get to y'all. We'll talk about gaming in just a second, okay? I see you, okay? And I'm going to come back to you. I have not forgotten, trust me. And we have a lot of fun doing this, okay? So please, next time I have a show, hopefully, I'll be able to take live calls. Call in this number right here, okay? My shows for football, or my Jet shows, okay, start generally at like 7 p.m. Eastern, okay? People call in before 7 p.m. Eastern when the phones are working, and that's how they get on a little bit earlier, okay? So please don't hesitate to do that. I think my lines open up at 6:50, and then the show starts at 7, but some people tell me that the lines open up before that. I don't know, okay? But I'm just letting y'all know that that is legal. It's not, I'm not going to do anything crazy. It's legal for you to do that. Call in as early as you want to because I work down my board. I can physically see you when you call in. I work down the board and we do our thing and I have that discussion. Again, I give everybody about 5 to 8 minutes to, talk, especially on a night when it's really hot. We'll be moving through calls and I respect everybody's time. Okay. So please call in. Let's get that conversation. Make your takes concise. Don't be wandering all over the place. Okay. Because we have to have that talk, but just understand there's people that are also on the lines waiting. And again, I respect everybody's time. You don't have to be a Jets fan to call in here. You don't. You don't have to be a Jets fan to watch me. I have listeners from every walk of the NFL. As y'all saw tonight, there's Raiders fans in here, Titans fans. There's all kind of fans in here, and I welcome that. I want you to come on in. I want to have that discussion with you. But, hey, we bleed green here. So, of course, I'm going to be talking about the Jets. But I welcome all discussion about football. And again, we've had people call into the show when the phones are working. And a Falcons fan calls in repeatedly. And he talks about the Jets as well. And we talk about the Falcons too, as y'all know. And so we have a lot of fun doing that. So, yeah, we do a lot of that stuff here. So please, when the phone lines are working, we'll do that and we have a blast. So please, get involved with what I'm doing over here. And again, subscribe if you haven't already. Also, when you call in, make sure your phone line's good. Make sure your background is clear of noise. Okay. If I can't hear you, then there's nothing I can do. If I can't hear you and my audience can't hear you, I'm going to move on. Okay. I need to be able to hear you clearly because I want to hear your take. I want to hear what you got to say. If I can't hear what you got to say, what am I doing? All right. I know I love that people call me from different places, different spaces. Some people call me from work. Some people listen to me on the way to work and on the way back from work. I love that. Get your money. Get your money. But understanding my audience needs to be able to hear you, bruh. Or sis. Okay? So work with me, okay? And make sure your phone's good. Also, there's no favoritism here. All right? I'll make this very clear again. You know who you are. I've had to tell a person recently, okay? A person was like, Joe, I've been a Jets fan for however many years. I said, oh, that's cool. I don't care. Because if somebody else called in before you, I'm going to pick up that person's call. Again, I work down my board. Okay, I'm going to get to you. Trust. My hold times are not long at all. All right? Not long at all. Even super hot shows where I get to moving. But don't think that just because you've been a Jets fan for 50 years that I'm going to pass up on a Jets fan that's been a Jets fan for a year because you're on the line. No, I'm going to go down my board, okay? So I was respectful. As respectful as I could be, okay? But when my lines are working, which Block Talk sucks, okay? You know, just relax. We'll get to everybody. Trust me, okay? Because I appreciate everybody calling in and having that conversation because this is what I love to have this conversation with y'all, okay, about football, period. All right. So we have a lot of fun doing that. So again, please join in. And again, exclamation point links, okay, is in the chat. Lil Balloon salutes, and salutes to you, Lil Balloon, on your channel as well. Really enjoy your content. I remember you came in, you said I was your first sub. Salutes, man. Please keep hosting. Funny stuff with Jaleese. She gonna do her due diligence. Please keep posting your content. You do great stuff. Yeah, also game on this channel as well. I know people are mad. I'm going to get back to that soon. There's a lot of games coming out. A lot of games we're going to play. We're going to do some retro stuff as well. I'll let y'all know when I'm going to get back to that because, again, it's my schedule, man. And I try. My schedule is wild. I also have a reaction channel, too. I need to get to the content for that as well. I apologize, man. It's just my schedule is stupid right now. It really is stupid, you know. But we'll get back to that, okay? So I will be gaming soon. I'm going to get back to that. We're going to play some stuff. We're going to have some fun, man. I'm going to try to get to some – I'm going to let y'all know, but we're going to have some fun. I'm going to get to some good games, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So I'll get back to that soon, man. It's just my schedule is wild. But we do game on this channel. We have a lot of fun. We come in here. We shoot the breeze. We talk about life. We talk about it all, okay? We have a lot of fun. So please don't be mad at me. I got people that are really mad at me. Oh, man, like screaming at me. Joe, get back to the games, Joe. We were having so much fun. Why aren't you gaming? Why aren't you? Look, I'll get back to it, okay? I just got to get my schedule to settle down, okay? And it's just been really rough, man. Really rough. All right. But I'll get back to that. Trust me, there's games coming out. Games that, again, stuff we're going to be playing. I got some stuff, okay? Don't trip, okay? We're going to get back to it, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So please subscribe because we game on this channel. I have a gaming channel as well. There'll be stuff put on there, too. We're going to have a lot of fun, man. But just please bear with your boy, okay? Please bear with your boy. So, yeah, we do that. We have a blast. And so get involved with that as well. If you see me gaming, come on in and just say what's up. You know, and start talking that talk. Because I like going back and forth. We be talking about some crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. But we have a lot of fun here. So, yeah. Listen. Happy holidays to everybody. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I hope everybody enjoys themselves. Okay. Also, if you haven't already, again, you know, Christmas is coming up. Mark V. Lee Foundation. Mark V. Lee Foundation, somebody I support thoroughly. They do toy drives for kids. Please get involved with them. You know, please get involved with them. You know, that's what we support here. Again, toy drive is coming up. Mark V. Lee Foundation. You can definitely get involved with them. Again, they're in my link tree as well. Click that link tree, Mark V. Lee. Click that, and it'll take you straight there. You can give a toy to a kid. Go and it's in Jersey, Atlantic City. Go ahead and send a toy over there. Get involved with them. Man, you're really brightening the kids' day, man. They need, you know, there's a lot of kids out there, a lot of things going on, as we all know. Excuse me. You know, a lot of people are dealing with a lot of different situations, and being able to really light up a kid's life, and giving them a toy to play with on Christmas or something, to really look forward to on Christmas. Really will brighten a day. So please get involved with the with the Mark V. Lee Toy Drive, please. Mark V. Lee Toy Drive. It's in the link tree. Get involved with them. So please. And again, it's in the description as well of the video, my link tree. Click that, Mark V. Lee. Boom, and it'll take you right there and give you the information that you need to get involved with them. Okay, and again, you can take a toy to any fire department in Atlantic City and Jersey. So please get involved. They also take donations. You can send that to them as well. Cashier's checks, stuff like that. So please get involved with them. So something that means a lot to me. And please, I hope it means a lot to y'all. Salutes to Little Balloon. I see you in the building. We'll talk about that stuff as we go forward, man. Again, I want to thank you for offering, and we'll, once I get that rolling, we'll see what's up. Mark White, salutes to you. Good to see you in the building. Outlaw, salutes. High Rose, salutes, man. Good to see y'all in here, man. I appreciate y'all for coming on by. Q Cash, Dakota, everybody that came on by said what's up to your boy, man. I appreciate y'all. Okay. To hear me go crazy through all this madness. All right. Chris, I see you in the building. Salutes. Always good to see you in here too, man. All right. NY Jets FL, salutes. Man, oh man. NY Jets FL says, Joe, put your cell phone out there and just use the speakerphone for your live stream. You can trust us. Salutes. I'm going to figure out some type of way. Okay. Blog Talk sucks. All right. But I'm going to figure out some type of way in case situations. I'll figure it out, man. We'll figure this out. I know y'all want to call in because I want to hear from y'all. Okay. And I know tonight, oh my goodness. It would have, man, it was, yeah. All right. But we'll figure it out. It's rough, man. It's rough. It's so rough. Salutes to Outlaw again, NY Jets FL. Salute. Jack Kenna, salutes to you. Jay, I see you in the building. Tim's Collectibles, salutes to you. Tim's Collectibles. Blog Talk is fired. Adrian Gutierrez, salutes. Good to see you in the building. How about them Jets? Always good to see you in here too. Man, just salutes to everybody. Todd, everybody that came on by. Hemi. Orlando C, always good to see you in the building. Orlando C says, at least we had a great week of practice. Todd Bowles. Man, I want to thank everybody for checking in with your boy, watching the show, and just having a good time, man. Again, I like going back and forth with everybody, even if it's just, the chat, going back and forth with the savages in the chat. I'm all about it, okay? Everybody knows we take calls, but yes, we also, listen to the chat as well. Listen to the savages, as well in the chat. And we have a great time. All right. So hopefully we get back to that. Oh, also we do live game watch-alongs as well, too. I don't want to forget to tell y'all that if you're new. We watch the game together when my schedule allows. People get mad at me for that, too. When I can't watch the game, I apologize. My schedule's crazy. All right. But when my schedule allows, we watch the games together. And directly after the game, if Blog Talk works, if my phones work, we do a live radio show. And man, those are hot. Woo! We don't allow cursing on those either, okay? But it gets pretty hot, okay? So listen, man, be safe, okay? Be safe. Sit down with your friends and your family. Enjoy some good food. Have some good meals. All right. Be safe out here now. All right. Be safe. A lot of crazy people doing crazy things. Don't ask me why. All right. Sit down. Watch some good TV. Eat some good food. Let the people that you love know that you love them. It's important to me in my life. I hope it's important to you in yours. Okay. And again, happy holidays to everybody. I hope everybody has a warm and safe Christmas. Enjoy yourselves with your friends and your family. Sit down. I hope y'all all have some good presents. And I hope you enjoy yourselves, man. I hope you enjoy yourselves, okay? And I'll let you guys know, man. Again, happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody. Enjoy yourselves, okay? So until the next show, I'm going to get on up out of here. Salutes and respect to everybody. Be safe out here, people. All right? A lot of crazy things. I'll see y'all on the next one. I'll let y'all know. I don't think I'm going to have a show because Christmas is coming up next week. I'll let y'all know, man. But I'll let y'all know when the next show is coming. But again, please follow me across all my social media and everything else. Talk to me and I'll talk back. Trust. I do talk back. And we'll get to gaming again. I know people are mad at me. At some point, we'll get back to that. Okay, some point soon. All right, I'm going to get up out of here. Y'all have a good one. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays. Michael, I see you. Salutes to you. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. All right, until the next show, Savages.